Good evening. Welcome to Mas con Mas. I am your host, Raul Mascanosa. Thank you for being with us here on another segment of this program. I want to do a shout out to our sponsors, YOUNGEVITY, Cachita Coffee, Grimal Joyeria, our new sponsor, Casa Resuelto, Punto Legal. These are the folks that make this program possible. Truly appreciative of their support so that we can bring this program to you. There's been a lot of news this week in America, and I want to start by covering some of those before we go on to our guest today. We have a very interesting individual who I will introduce shortly, but I wanted to start talking about some of the news events of the week. I think without doubt there were perhaps three very important news items. Two of them were barely mentioned. One of them got a lot of coverage. That one news event that got a lot of coverage was the fact that Joe Biden selected Kamala Harris as his running mate for the vice presidential ticket on the Democratic nomination. The other two items that were not covered very well were the peace accord that's been reached between Israel and the United Arab Emirates. And the third item that was not given a whole lot of coverage was the fact that last week, for the very first time, we've had unemployment claims below 1 million, 963,000 to be exact. It's been the lowest number since we started with this downturn in the economy. We're not out of the woods yet, but definitely a positive sign. But let's start with the news about Kamala Harris. Quite frankly, I was not particularly surprised by the selection. Joe Biden had basically made the decision, or his handlers, I should say, had made a decision for him some time ago, that the choice of the vice presidential nominee was going to be limited to a woman and a woman of color. And that short list came down basically to three names: Kamala Harris, Susan Rice, and Karen Bass. As we've discussed previously on this program, Karen Bass was a very problematic candidate from the get-go. Representative from Los Angeles, head of the Congressional Black Caucus, but a woman who's had a very long love affair with Fidel Castro, with Chavez and Maduro in Venezuela, made no bones about it. At age 19, she was building houses and cutting sugarcane with the Venceremos brigades down in Cuba. And I think her nomination increasingly became problematic as her history came out. You saw people coming out and attacking her on that troubled history of hers. And I think that made her a very suspect candidate for the vice presidential nomination. I think Americans are very concerned when you have somebody who is quite literally a socialist, communist sympathizer, literally within a heartbeat of the presidency. And that is what Karen Bass represented had she been chosen to be Joe Biden's vice presidential pick. Susan Rice had some troubles of her own, not the least of which being the fact that she really has no domestic policy experience. She's never been elected to office. She was the foreign policy advisor during the Obama and Biden presidency, if you will, or administration. Obama's foreign policy is viewed by many as very suspect. Susan Rice was at the head of it, including the disastrous accord with Iran to try and strike a deal with them, and a lot of other things that we saw took place during that period of time. The famous, line in the sand that Obama, gave in Syria that was violated right away by Assad. All sorts of things that Susan Rice is responsible for, most famously coming out and trying to defend the administration's actions following the attack of our diplomats in Benghazi, Libya. So Susan Rice had her own baggage, would have been difficult, primarily because I think of her lack of domestic policy experience. So Kamala Harris was the one that probably had the best chance. The problem with Kamala Harris is that her high point during the Democratic primaries came right during the first debates when Kamala Harris accused Joe Biden of, in essence, being a segregationist, of not being in favor of forced busing. And it was immediately following that attack on Joe Biden when she had her best success. She raised over $2 million within 24 hours after that first debate where she attacked Joe Biden. But really after that, she did not get a lot of traction. In fact, when she pulled out of the race, her polling at the national level, and this you can find in Real Clear Politics and other websites like that, was less than 3%. So she really had not connected with voters, including Democratic voters at the time. In fact, some would argue that she didn't even connect with black voters as well as Joe Biden did. I think that one thing that is certain is that one of the reasons why the Biden campaign found itself needing to have a person of color on the ticket is because, if you'll recall, during that primary, Joe Biden himself was struggling at various points, including early on in the primary. Elizabeth Warren was giving him a run for his money, and he had not done well in Iowa. He had not done well in New Hampshire, and it really wasn't until the South Carolina primary where Biden sort of came out and suddenly was seen as a serious candidate. And that boost in South Carolina came primarily from the African American community, primarily with the help of James Clyburn, the representative from the Charleston area, who really, the African American voters in South Carolina, you could quite frankly say that they saved the candidacy of Joe Biden and really made him the front runner at that point in time. So I think the Biden campaign necessarily needed a woman of color. I think they would have preferred Karen Bass. I think they would have preferred Susan Rice, because some would argue that Kamala Harris is not really African American. Her father is Jamaican. Her mother is Indian ancestry. Both were PhD academics, very prestigious individuals in their own right. I believe Kamala Harris's father is a professor of economics at Stanford. I think her mother was a cancer researcher with the Lawrence Livermore Laboratories. So, Kamala Harris did not grow up in sort of the African American neighborhoods that we're accustomed to seeing in our urban areas. She grew up, in sort of a different environment. And in fact, when her parents were divorced, she moved to Canada with her mother and her sister Maya and lived in Canada for a long period of time. She finally got embroiled, if you will, in the African American experience when she went to undergraduate at Howard University in the Washington, D.C. area, and then subsequent to that went to law school at the University of California and began her political career in California. I don't know how much she really does for the ticket. I think the Biden campaign is obviously looking at her as a biracial woman. They believe that that's going to attract a lot of suburban women voters. That's going to bring them the support from different racial communities. Let's see. I think Trump has made a lot of inroads into the African American vote. I think they're overestimating exactly how much support she will bring to the ticket. She's 55 years old. Joe Biden, I think, is 77 years old, so she brings a certain amount of youth, if you will, to the campaign. That might be seen as a plus. But look, at the end of the day, Kamala Harris has one of the most liberal voting records in the Senate, if not the most liberal voting record. And what you're seeing here is a very, very clear contrast between the Democrats and the Republicans. Come November 3rd, you're going to have a choice of voting either for sort of an extreme left liberal agenda, or you're going to have a choice of voting for Trump, right-wing moderate agenda, and Pence, obviously with strong support from evangelicals and the conservative community. So a big choice come November. I don't know how much Kamala is going to help the Biden campaign, but we'll see. She's already under attack from a lot of different circles, not to be unexpected, but we'll see exactly what happens. I don't think she's going to do a whole lot to bring in voters in the Midwest or in key battleground states like Michigan, but we'll have to take a look and see what happens over the next few weeks. The Israeli-United Arab Emirates Accord, extremely important, was sort of drowned out with this whole news about Kamala Harris. And in fact, when the report came out, I was seeing that same morning that the mainstream media was paying more attention to Trump's criticism of the U.S. Postal Service than they were the fact that another Arab country had suddenly reached a peace accord with the State of Israel. A very important step for continued peace in the Middle East. Israel has basically agreed to stop its annexation of lands in the West Bank. A very significant step for Israel. But I think the fact that you've got the United Arab Emirates, one of the richest and more powerful of the Gulf states, now saying that they're willing to sit down with the Israeli government and reach a peace accord is absolutely essential. Naturally, the Iranians were not happy about it. The Palestinians were not happy about it. That's to be expected. They want turmoil in the Middle East. Hezbollah wants turmoil in the Middle East. Iranians, agents in Syria and in Lebanon. But I think for the rest of the world, it's a good sign. Jobless claim numbers I mentioned before, beneath 1 million for the first time since the recession began, or this pandemic-induced recession began, I should say. But look, we're not out of the woods yet. A very distressing story that I saw this past week. Huge food lines in Dallas, and we still have 28 million people unemployed. Things are not terribly rosy. A lot of concerns about whether or not the coronavirus is going to come back in the fall and winter. We're seeing increased cases here in South Florida and elsewhere. Still a lot of concern about whether or not we should open up the schools. So I don't think we're out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination. But we're also beginning to see that, quite frankly, this shutdown is taking a tremendous toll on small businesses throughout the U.S. They're simply not coming back. A lot of them have been shut down permanently. And I think we really have to sort of balance the risk of opening up the economy versus the fact that we may cause some very permanent damage to our economy the longer we keep this thing shut down. Not to mention the fact that the CDC came out with a report this week saying that there's increased suicides, that there's increased people calling for mental health issues and to hotlines and things of that sort. So, if the virus doesn't kill you, the depression might. So I think we need to take a good hard look at this and see whether or not we can continue to sort of keep these extreme measures in place that are really having a very bad effect on people's ability to earn an income and whatnot. Talking about income, very distressing news that both houses of Congress have now left for their summer recess without having reached an accord. I saw Nancy Pelosi yesterday talking about, well, the Republicans are offering $1 billion, we're offering $3 billion. Why don't we meet in the middle and just decide to make it $2 billion? That seems to me like an absolute crazy way to undertake legislative issues of great importance in America. Doing it on a gross dollar amount, to me, is absolutely ludicrous. We don't have that money to just sort of throw around, Ms. Pelosi. Let's take a look at what is really needed to help people, what is really needed to get our economy back on track, and forget that $1 billion of spending that you want for whatever it is that you want it for, whether it's for help the municipalities or help the states, whatever. Let's focus on the people that are unemployed, that are out of work, the businesses that are suffering, and let's deal with those other issues later on. But to come out as a Speaker of the House and say, well, he wants $1 billion, we want $3 billion, let's split it down the middle, let's split the baby in half, it's absolutely insane to think about a serious budgetary process in that fashion. Then again, some would argue that Nancy Pelosi lost her mind a long time ago, but we won't go there. A couple other interesting items this week. U.S. government seized 4 tankers headed to Venezuela filled with gas for Venezuela. Even though Venezuela sits on some of the largest oil petroleum reserves in the world, if not the largest oil petroleum reserves in the world, it has trouble producing enough gas for its own domestic consumption. These gas tankers were coming from Iran. The U.S. government put a forfeiture order in place, seizing that gasoline, and the owners of the ship basically decided to transfer that gas to U.S. hands. We'll be back in just a few minutes with our first guest. Stick with us. We got a great program today. Looking forward to interviewing Liliam Lopez, the founder and president of the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
We are ENTV USA. Log on now and check out our live shows and subscribe. You don't want to miss this. Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Línea Deportiva, a sports line. At 7 p.m., O Que Chisme, the best celebrity gossip show with Odi Abreu. At 8 p.m., Punto Final, another angle of news. 9 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, we have Alo Cortez with Tony Cortez. Tuesdays at 9 p.m., Dame Un Like. Thursdays, also at 9 p.m., De Noche con Roche. Fridays, 9 p.m., Más con Más with Raul Mascanosa. Every Wednesdays at 4 p.m., we've got Brisky Business with Dave Brisky. Followed by Inmigración en Fronteras with lawyer Irving Gonzalez at 5 p.m. This is our programming for ENTV USA from right here in Miami for the rest of the world. Con una vista, basta. Show some love and give us a like.
As you age, the collagen that helps keep your body in optimal physical condition breaks down faster than your body can replace it. But now it's easy to give your body the healthy dose of collagen it needs with Collagen Creamer from Youngevity. It's a delicious vanilla-flavored coffee creamer that's packed with 7.5 grams of bovine-sourced collagen peptides. Youngevity's Collagen Creamer uses 2 types of collagen to better supply the protein needed to repair and strengthen the connective tissue in your body. It also supports healthy hair, skin, nails, and even bones. We've also formulated Collagen Creamer with MCT, healthy fats that the body is able to absorb and convert into an instant boost of energy. Add it to coffee or one of your other favorite beverages when you need it. Youngevity Collagen Creamer. Support for healthy connective tissue and more energy, all in a tasty vanilla-flavored creamer. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Stop the COVID-19. Maintain social distancing. The best way to prevent the sickness is to avoid exposure and to avoid exposing other people. Maintain a distance of 6 feet whenever possible and cover your nose and mouth with a handkerchief or mask when in public. Avoid hugs, handshakes, and big reunions as well as events indoors. For more information, please go to floridahealthcovid19.gov. This is a message from ENTV USA for the community.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Youngevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Youngevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us here on Más con Más. As I mentioned previously, we've got a terrific guest today for you, none less than Liliam Lopez. Liliam Lopez is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, one of the most successful business organizations in South Florida. Welcome, Liliam, to the program. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Raul. Thank you for that warm welcome. And, I love the name, Más con Más. I mean, it doesn't get any better. Más con Más. So it just gets you just in the spirit of, let's do more.
I'm glad you like it. I'm glad
I love it. Let's do more.
I'm glad you like it.
And that's what it's all about, doing more for our community.
So, Liliam, first of all, I want you to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell us a little bit about who you are, about your organization. Mm-hmm. You started in 1994, you mentioned?
Yes, correct. We started in 1994.
And a lot has changed during that period of time, but give us a little bit of background. Where you're from, your background, how your family came here from Cuba, et cetera, et cetera. Give us the whole,
of course.
A little bit of that intro.
A little bit of everything, okay. They call me Lily, so everybody that sees me now, you call me Lily. It's Liliam. My name ends with an M.
Right.
So it's always difficult because Anglos would always write, if they don't know me, they would write, Dear Mr. William Lopez, because of the M. But anyway, so they call me Lily, so please feel free to call me Lily. I was born in Cuba. I came when I was 3 years old. Obviously, tough time when you're growing up because my father had a lot of businesses in Havana. I was born in Vedado. And of course, he had to start from scratch. I remember he did a lot of dishes, fregaba platos, a lot.
Sure. He
did a lot of things. And this is a man self-made man, who owned like 8 restaurants and cafeterias. He had businesses, and he has to start from scratch. And I remember as a little kid, sometimes I couldn't even drink a Coca-Cola. I didn't have a lot of toys. And those toys that I was able to have, believe me, Raul, están in the closet on my daughter.
Wow.
So my daughter would throw away all her things because she's born in 19 years ago. But then me, at the closet, I said, mis muñecas, la que people me compró, the ones that my father bought me. That Santa Claus bought me, but I know it's my father. So I keep them, because,
Excellent.
for us, remind me. And it's the way
Do you have
that
brothers and sisters?
I have a brother. He's older than me, and he does very well. He works for Siemens. And so I studied piano. My mother was a piano teacher.
Right.
So now every once in a while, in this pandemic, I play piano and I post it on Facebook. So everybody says, oh, Lily, play more piano. So now, I mean, I did finish the 8 years of piano and I do play it. But I have to practice more because, you know, when you don't play that often, it's like ballet dancers and opera singers. You have to do it like 8 hours a day. And I don't have that time. But then you grew up. I went to school. I studied political science in
Right.
St. Thomas University. I got my Bachelor's of Arts.
What were you doing before you started?
Before we started the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I was the executive director of the Spanish American League Against Discrimination, SALAD. So I worked there with Dr. Osvaldo Soto,
Right.
who was like a mentor to me, a wonderful gentleman, and also with Dr. Eduardo Padron, who had been founding chair of SALAD.
Right.
So I was very young. I had studied the political science and journalism. I used to be correspondent I was, you know, a young girl, like I told you previously, politiquera. I love politics. I like to be involved in everything. So I was everywhere. I was part of I could say a Republican, a young Republican, and de los jóvenes. And so I did a lot of things. And then I got that opportunity to work with them. And needless to say that I learned so much. And they gave me a lot of confidence. Because I knew how to talk and how to write.
So let me ask you a bit. You decide to launch this Chamber of Commerce, 1994.
Yes, exactly.
Now, you know, at the time there were already, you know, several chambers of commerce in
Yes.
South Florida, right? I mean, you had
Uh-huh.
the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce.
course.
You had the
Coral Gables,
the
Miami
Coral
Beach,
Gables.
Miami
You had the
Beach.
Latin American también. I don't know.
Camacol, of course,
Camacol.
absolutely.
You had Camacol.
I remember. You're amiga de Salinas,
You
of
had
course.
all of these chambers.
Yes, okay, so I'll tell you what happened.
What did you find that was missing
What
that you
was
said, hey,
needed?
you know what, let me start a new organization and compete with these very established players?
Exactly, and we didn't see it as a competition, but what happened was that I got experience in the nonprofit world.
Right.
And then I had a lot of friends that were businessmen and women, and they said, Lily, you know what? Because that's back in the day. Now it's different, but back in the day, they would say, Hispanics are always placed on a Hispanic Affairs Committee in different types of chambers. We don't get to leadership positions. I know that has changed, of course. Well, it's been 26 years.
Right.
But at that time, it wasn't like that. And they would tell me, you have nonprofit experience, and we have, like, you know, the people to help the accountants, the lawyers, everybody to set up, you know, the articles of incorporation, you know, the 501c6 status, the whole 9 yards. And at that time, my mom was very ill. So they told me, so do you have time now to take care of your mom? Because my mom passed away like 22 years ago. So at that time, she was very, very delicate. Her health was very bad. So my friend said, you know what? You could do this. I'll give you an office, and we'll start it. And never in my wildest dreams did we think that it was going to be so big and so successful, because it was difficult. The first steps
Sure.
is very difficult. Everything that you start, whatever it is that you start, is very difficult. But I was very blessed to have very dear friends, people who have followed me, and new people that have come along the way, and the organization has grown to over 1,600 members.
Wow.
And we're very active, extremely active. And like I was telling you previously, before the pandemic, like our events, the smallest event would be like 150, 200 people. Like the big events, we had 450, 480 people for a lunch. Not everybody does that. Not
So-
all organizations can pull that.
So, you know, look, I think it's important to recognize, I mean, chambers of commerce, one of the principal functions of a chamber of commerce, aside from sort of advocating for the business community, is networking, right? I mean,
Networking to put people with each other,
organizations, you know, join chambers because they want to, you know, meet other business people in the area, and they want to, you know, share ideas and
Connect.
connections and ways to help each other. And so,
I love to do that.
and you love to do that. And you're very good at it.
I love to do that.
And that's why you've been so successful,
So in
right? 'Cause
an
you're very-
event, I would get someone, okay, wait, stay right here. You said you need to meet so-and-so. I would run around the room, okay. You two need to connect.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you have to do it.
And you did a fabulous job of that. I think that's what made your organization so successful. Quite frankly, in my experience, there were other chambers that didn't have that personal touch that you brought to the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and they've suffered, and they've had to change their business model. Because a lot of their members would say, well, yeah, gee, you know, it's great that we have this lunch once a month,
But I need to
and
get
I
something
pay
out of it.
through it, you know, I pay through it through the nose because I'm a, you know, trustee
Yeah,
member or
member.
whatever. But what do I really get out of it? I mean, I'm not really seeing the results to my bottom
you need
line.
to have, you need to
So,
see results, absolutely.
I think that's...
And I tell people, you know, if you're going to join and you're not going to be active, we don't, you know, I appreciate it. I appreciate that you want to become a member, but we don't join. We don't want to take your money if you're not really going to be active and engaged, because it's not right. It's not the right thing to do. So
I
if you-
thought that
you-
comment that you made about, back in the early 90s, how we were sort of relegated to
Of course,
the
Hispanic
Hispanic
Affairs
committees, the Hispanic Affairs Committee, right?
Yes.
Because, I guess, even though, by then things had changed dramatically, but, Cuban Americans, the Hispanic community in South Florida was still sort of seen as the minority, and we would put you on this, Hispanic Affairs
Even
Committee.
if we weren't, we were
Even
not.
if we weren't, we're no
not.
longer. Why should I be in a Hispanic Affairs Committee when we're the majority, right?
Makes no sense.
So
Absolutely.
that makes a
Absolutely.
terrific amount of
Yes,
sense.
so that's what happened.
Tell me about some of the successes that you've had in the with the Chamber of Commerce, but also some of the other things that you've done in this community, because you sort of created a foundation.
Yes.
You've been involved with the Beacon Council. You've been
Right.
involved with FIU. So tell me a
Yes,
little bit about
yes.
some of these other things that you've done.
I serve in the
aside from-
President's Council for FIU. I'm a governing board member of Larkin Middle School for the sciences. Board member of the Beacon Council. I also serve in a board that's from Miami-Dade County Public Schools. It's a very long name. For me, it's very difficult to say because it's so long. It's minority, women, business.
Sure.
I mean, the name is really huge. I mean,
Right.
I wish I had an acronym that's easy, but it isn't. But basically, I serve there too as secretary of the board. I also serve in Miami-Dade Health Area Education Center. They call them the Miami-Dade AHEX. I don't know if you heard about that.
No.
But it's a very good organization. It's a nonprofit, and I serve there as treasurer as well. And I must be in many other
Question
other
for you.
organizations.
What's been the most challenging thing that you've done? Has it been the chamber, or has it been some of these other activities? What's been the most challenging? What's been the most rewarding? Can you differentiate between the two, or are they intertwined, or what?
Okay, challenging has been to build an organization from scratch. It seems easy, but it is not.
Right.
You need to have a lot of good people following you, people that believe in you and your leadership. And at the same time, you have to understand that there's people that help you, because there's people who think they know everything. I don't think I know anything.
Right.
And I depend on people that are experts on different subject matters to help me. And I appreciate it, and I welcome that. I don't have an ego, so that's important. But, this person knows about this, okay, I need you. So you talk to people who really know. So that's been very, very, very helpful for me to be successful, because I take from everybody their opinion. I mean, I don't challenge anything. I try to get the most from everybody, from these good minds.
So
And
that in and of
helps.
itself, the success that you've had, has to be rewarding, right?
Of course, it's rewarding, and the most important thing for me, being the reward is to see people that believe in me, and so many that have followed me, and the board of directors, our chairman of the boards, all the ones that we've had. I mean, we had the late Ralph Gonzalez Jacobo, who passed away
Right,
6
yeah,
months ago. It
remember
was
that.
great. Then we have Felipe Basulto, who was chairman, and then came on board again, and has helped me tremendously. Now we have Roland Sanchez Medina, who's the chairman of the board, Orlando Romero, Armando Trabanco. I mean, we've had so many chairmen that have been so good to us and have really dedicated time, which is something that I value, because when you give your time, that's something that you have to appreciate. So just having that's rewarding. To think that there's these people, these friends actually, because they become family, that they are so busy, yet they take their time.
Sure.
Because they believe in the dream that I had, and that's the rewarding.
What about the foundation? Talk to me about the
Oh
foundation.
yes, the foundation. Well, that comes back. I go back to my mom. My mom was a teacher. My grandmother was a teacher. Great-grandfather, great-grandmother, everybody was a teacher. So I said, I'm not going to be a teacher. But I think it is. I do believe in education. So in 1995, a year after we started the chamber, I said we should start a foundation. So we created the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce Foundation, which is a 501c3. Chambers are 501c6 because they're business organizations. So the C3, we said, okay, let's start by giving $500 scholarships back in 95, 6 or 7 of those. Then we increased it to 1,000. There's a point in time when we had someone who funded us, and we would give $5,000 scholarships. But then that went to a national organization, which is fine. We understand sometimes big companies prefer to give money to national organizations. The bad thing about this, and I'll say it very candidly and openly because I'm very open, that doesn't trickle down. Yeah. Usually, national organizations will fight their favorites, of course, that's fine, but doesn't trickle down. But I had a friend in a company that helped us, and we were able to do much good, and we gave like $70,000 in scholarships. Then we joined partners with Southwest Airlines. They joined the chamber. That's an organization that helps minorities. That's a company that helps minorities very, very much, and I have nothing but good things to say about Southwest Airlines as compared to many other airlines. This, for me, is one of the best to help minorities. And so they became a member, and probably 16 years ago, one of their community affairs director came to me and came to a lunch where we're giving scholarships. And he said, Lily, what if we do a program together? Say, you come up with an idea. What can we do? And we take students on a trip. And I said, oh, I like that idea. Thanks. But I said, you know what we need to do? I came up with the idea. All these kids that we're giving scholarships to are the brightest and the brilliant ones. You know, the brightest students will get into Ivy League school, will get scholarships. Let's try to help the 2.8 GPA, the 3.0 student, because in reality, regular, common day, ordinary workers that are very good, by the way, are B- students, B, C+. The extremely brilliant are going to be the scientists, the doctors, you know, the astronauts, all of that. Let's help these kids, a little push. So we started that, and through the years, we've had like 200 students fly with us, and then we select them. There's a committee, and then we take them on a paid trip, and then I look for a partner within the Chamber of Commerce. So Boeing, we've done Boeing, Microsoft, we've done Facebook, we've done New York Life, we've done corporate headquarters of Macy's, headquarters of Comcast in Philadelphia. We've been to the offices of Congresswoman Liliam Lopez. We've been to the White House. Fantastic. So we've done all of that. We've even San Antonio. We've done San Antonio. Fantastic. And listen, that's so rewarding. You have no idea.
One of the things that I love about doing these interviews, Lily, and I'll share this with you. I mean, you know, all too often we're seeing, you know, the same politicians and the same celebrities on TV, and it's great to have a refreshing face like yours talking to us about the significant work that you've done here in South Florida. We're taking a commercial break. We'll be right back to talk to Liliam about some important subjects, including the economic recovery here in South Florida. We are ENTV USA. You can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Roku. You can also download our mobile applications either from Google Play or from the Apple Store, depending on your online device. Give us a shot. You'll like what you see. Con una vista, basta.
Antioxidants are essential to protect your cells against the damaging effects of free radicals. Turmeric by YOUNGEVITY harnesses the power of nature to combat free radicals by delivering a potent boost of antioxidants known for their incredible healing properties. Sourced from certified organic turmeric root, turmeric contains 95% curcuminoids, the active compounds that quash free radicals. Turmeric has been used in Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine for thousands of years to promote both heart and brain health, as well as its powerful anti-inflammatory properties. We've also included a botanical blend of phytonutrients that include flavonoids, carotenoids, and sulfides. These natural, plant-based chemicals are powerful contributors to overall health and well-being. Turmeric, the organic antioxidant supplement from YOUNGEVITY, formulated to promote optimal health. To learn more, contact your YOUNGEVITY associate. A strong heart is a happy heart. Your body's systems depend on a healthy cardiovascular system to thrive. Without a healthy heart, you could experience symptoms like fatigue, aches and pains, dizziness, or shortness of breath. YOUNGEVITY developed Ultimate EFA Plus with a proprietary balanced blend of essential fatty acids. We started with flaxseed oil. It's been shown to improve the elasticity of arteries and support healthy blood pressure. Next, we included cold water fish oils, rich in omega-3s that can promote a healthy cardiovascular system and even increase levels of good HDL cholesterol. Then we added borage oil, known for its powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Blended together, these essential fatty acids provide you with the optimal blend of nutrients to help maintain normal cardiovascular health. Ultimate EFA Plus, the right nutrients to improve your heart health naturally. To learn more, contact your YOUNGEVITY associate.
As you age, the collagen that helps keep your body in optimal physical condition breaks down faster than your body can replace it. But now, it's easy to give your body the healthy dose of collagen it needs with Collagen Creamer from YOUNGEVITY. It's a delicious vanilla-flavored coffee creamer that's packed with 7.5 grams of bovine-sourced collagen peptides. YOUNGEVITY's collagen creamer uses 2 types of collagen to better supply the protein needed to repair and strengthen the connective tissue in your body. It also supports healthy hair, skin, nails, and even bones. We've also formulated collagen creamer with MCT, healthy fats that the body is able to absorb and convert into an instant boost of energy. Add it to coffee or one of your other favorite beverages when you need it. YOUNGEVITY Collagen Creamer. Support for healthy connective tissue and more energy, all in a tasty vanilla-flavored creamer. To learn more, contact your YOUNGEVITY associate.
CARDIOBEETS from YOUNGEVITY supports a healthy cardiovascular system and helps supply the nutrients your body needs to support better physical endurance. Your capacity to last a little longer is largely based on how well your cardiovascular system expends oxygen and circulates blood through your body. CARDIOBEETS helps combat the oxidative stress caused by physical activity by supplying you with key nutrients that support your cardiovascular system. These nutrients have also been shown to help improve endurance. CARDIOBEETS starts with organic beets, a rich source of nitrates to support healthy blood flow and oxygen transport. We've added whole foods from highly bioavailable seaweed and mango fruit, both known for blood flow support, and antioxidant-rich sweet cherries. Then, for even more heart health benefits, we finished it off with key amino acids. Take your physical endurance to the next level with CARDIOBEETS. Talk to your YOUNGEVITY associate for more information.
Just because you're a certain age doesn't mean you have to look it or feel it. Immortalium by YOUNGEVITY was developed to support your body's ability to age normally and healthfully. It's an advanced anti-aging supplement that combines the most effective essential nutrients in a cutting-edge, bi-layered and extended-release tablet designed to support your telomere health and natural aging process. Telomeres are the biological clocks within your cells that form the protective ends of almost every chromosome in your body. Telomeres help prevent the chromosomes from deteriorating. The longer and healthier the telomeres in a cell, the greater the health and anti-aging benefits. Immortalium contains synergizing antioxidant enzymes and telomere health-promoting nutrients that are quickly absorbed to give your body time to break down the antioxidants and put them to work. Immortalium, advanced anti-aging support that can help fight the natural aging process. To learn more, contact your YOUNGEVITY associate. Paying attention to your overall health also means focusing on the command center of it all, your brain. Factors like stress, lack of sleep, poor diet, a sedentary lifestyle, and the bombardment of pollutants and toxins can all diminish brain and neural functions. When was the last time you concentrated on your brain health? Synaptive by YOUNGEVITY is a cutting-edge, unique brain support supplement that delivers powerful nutrients both immediately and throughout the day. Its anti-stress nutrients provide instant brain-boosting support that helps with mental focus and cognitive activity. To enhance your body's neuroprotection, Synaptive's full-spectrum antioxidant blend targets 6 major classes of free radicals that inhibit brain function. This powerful nutrient combination also promotes healthy blood flow to the brain. Synaptive, optimal antioxidant neuroprotection and support for a healthy brain. Now that's something to think about. To learn more, contact your YOUNGEVITY associate.
Thank you for sticking with us. Welcome back to Moscow Mas. We've got a terrific guest, Liliam Lopez, the president and CEO of the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. We spent the first segment sort of talking about her background and how the organization was created. I want to talk now about some very important issues taking place right here in our own community, and it's the economic recovery. You know, the reopening of the South Florida economy. What's going to happen with our schools? Obviously, as a Chamber of Commerce, you've got to be very concerned about that because you know you're representing the business interests of your members.
Yes, we are.
How do you think our political leaders are doing, Lily? I'm going to start with that sort of charged question. I mean, what do you think about our efforts to, A, control the virus, and B, reopen the economy at the same time? Can we walk and chew gum at the same time in Miami-Dade County?
I have not been pleased, and I'm always very candid and open. And I always say when I'm invited to speak, you know, different media channels, that I don't think that our elected officials are doing anything bad on purpose. They're all good people, they're family people, but I don't think this has been handled well at all. This is very disorganized. I've been asked to speak many media outlets about what's happening to the restaurants, banquet halls, and then we'll also talk about schools. But let me go back to the banquet halls and the restaurants and all of that. I have no idea why Disney World is open, why Orlando's open, Broward is open, and why Miami-Dade County, the restaurants are not allowed to open, and we have lost more than 3,000 restaurants that have closed. I have a group of members that have an organization that's composed of all people that own banquet halls. There is no reason why people can't have an event and keep the social distancing. It's not been proven that the peak that came about late June, early July is related to restaurants. For crying out loud, what is this? So you allow gyms are open? I would suppose that when you're in a gym, you're sweating and you're like, maybe the saliva or whatever it is, as they say, that comes out of you, that is more dangerous than being in a restaurant. So I have no idea why this has been handled so poorly. And I say it, and I clearly, I mean, it's nothing wrong. It's not, I'm not saying anything bad about the elected officials personally. They may have good intentions, but they perhaps never had a business, or they perhaps were never an employee that needs to bring food to the tables to their families.
Yeah, you know,
so that I'm passionate about, and it bothers me tremendously.
I think you make a good point there, Lily. I mean, unfortunately, too many of our political leaders these days, it seems, are professional politicians, right? They have spent their entire lives, more or less, working in the public sector. Guaranteed employment, you know,
salary, pension, and health insurance.
Absolutely, and you know they sure do look after their own, right? Because states and municipal governments throughout the country are now begging Congress and begging the president for financial assistance to keep their employees working, you know, to keep them on the payroll, right?
Exactly.
And they want to, of course, they're not going to stop collecting taxes, right? I mean,
of course.
They're going to keep charging us taxes, even though the people that fund them, that support them, are suffering enormously, and many of them, their businesses have collapsed, like you mentioned.
And these businesses have to pay rent.
And these businesses have to continue to pay rent.
A break.
They have to continue to pay, you know, sales tax and collect sales tax on behalf of the government.
Exactly.
And yet they're not getting the support, right?
Of course. They're not getting anything.
Just out of curiosity, of these restaurants and businesses that have shut down, do you have any idea how many of them are going to be closed permanently?
Oh yeah, of course. And the statistics say, and actually it came out in the newspaper, it's like at least 3,000 that are closing permanently. Permanently, Miami-Dade County, yeah, of course, South Florida, absolutely. Yes.
Man, that's...
And there's more, so there's like 8,000 or 10,000 are suffering, and then there's 3,000 that are, you know, forever.
And you know, a lot of people...
Did you read about Rio Cristal?
Sure, of course. And a lot of people don't realize this. You know, we think about, you know, business in America, and we think about, you know, Amazon and Walmart and these big companies. But really, you know, it's the small businesses that are the backbone of America in terms of employment, in terms of you know, generating.
Of course.
You know,
small business, the backbone of the community.
It's the backbone of the community, right? Without them, things start to go south really, really quickly.
And you know something that I always say, Raul, and it's a fact that why? Because they say it's essential. Okay, of course, for food. Walmart, the Costco's, the Publix, even Home Depot. All of that, you're allowed. And they put a tape here and another piece of tape there, maintain the social distancing. Why can't that be done in restaurants and in some other type because they wouldn't allow the barber shops nor the beauty salons at the time. Why can't you keep someone who wants to go to a coffee shop to have un cafecito cubano, medianoche? Okay, you stand here. Wait till we serve the other one and then that's your turn. Why can't that be done? That's the thing that baffles me. I'm so confused and I don't understand what the heck is going on. Who's running the show here?
Listen, Lily, I don't think you're the only person
and people are
confused.
so
I think there's a
upset.
lot of people that are very upset, that are seeing exactly that don't understand why these big, why can I go to, BJ's wholesale market, right?
And why can't I go to
and I can walk in with a huge cart and I can go up and down
and
I can
stay
buy
there for
all
an
this
hour,
stuff,
but then I
okay?
can go to a restaurant even if it's 10 feet away.
Exactly. And then when I go to a Latin American restaurant, they're only doing outdoor dining. They have maybe
And it's 100 degrees.
It's 100 degrees. They got
That's an
maybe
insult. I find it insulting.
10, 15 people dining there. And then I got to stand out in the heat because, we can't be near the takeout
And business
counter.
is going to Broward. I myself have gone to Broward for lunch with the
Really?
family. Yeah, and I have a lot of friends that go to the Keys, and that's business is going over there. And these people are oblivious. I have no idea what is happening. And we represent the businesses, and I feel passionate about this. It should not be happening.
What's happened in your organization? Because obviously, you're a not-for-profit.
Of course, yes.
But you depend on corporate membership. You depend on the membership dues that people
course.
pay. You depend on the
Events.
the events,
The
and,
events that we
and
do.
the money that comes in from those events. So what has happened in terms of your organization? Have you been able to pivot to this new virtual world where everything is, Skype or Zoom or StreamYard or whatever?
Yes, I've had to do it.
But I gotta
and-
believe that your revenues have been slashed dramatically.
Of course, because imagine we would have events every 3 weeks, with, like I say, with 200 people or more. So a lot of sponsorships. Now we had to pivot, of course, like you said, with Zoom, and we do the webinars, and we've been successful. We do webinars every week, by the way, and you always get sponsors. But it's not the same if you get 1 or 2 sponsors as if you have a lunch or a workshop where you get like 8 or 10 or 12 sponsors. So of course we've had to reduce some hours. We're cutting a little bit, but at the same time, we're lucky because we've been successful. We've been very careful. We have reserves, so we're trying to make everything work. And I have a show, which you've seen, the Business Minute with Liliam Lopez.
Talk to us about that. Give
So anybody who wants to advertise, let us know. It's an 8-minute segment. And so we interview different members of the chamber, and it goes to our social media platform and to our members, so it reaches over 22,000 people, which is good. So it's been successful, and we're happy about that. Good. But it's something different, you have to do different things in order to stay connected with the members, because that's the most important thing. The members, and you know what? They appreciate it. I get a lot of feedback. They appreciate it. Lily, you know what? You're taking care of us. You're doing all these things, all these webinars. They're all different topics. Everything is very educational. So at least, you're out there and you're serving the community, the members, and the community too. I want to serve the community too. And even for webinars, I allow those who are not members to come in because there are people who are suffering. Yeah. And you know what? It's not a matter of charging those people. It's a matter of allowing people in and to get the information that is needed.
Now, the payroll protection plan that the president put together, that was available to organizations like yourself as well. Did you take advantage of that?
We did take advantage of that. The only thing is that they said it was not for 501c6. We did apply. They approved us, but we need to know now if we're going to be forgiven because it was for 501c3s and we're C6.
Okay.
But let's see. Let's hope and pray. I know they were working on that. The U.S. Chamber was working on that.
Okay.
So let's hope and pray that we're allowed to be forgiven. I love that word, to be forgiven.
Yeah, to be forgiven
sinned.
to be forgiven for having
For the sin.
to be forgiven for having shut down your business that was doing fantastic.
Exactly.
But because we decided that we had a public health crisis.
Yeah, and still the PPP gives you like a month and a half, so it still doesn't help that much, really, even for businesses. And with regard to schools, I know we wanted to talk about schools.
Yeah. What are your members saying about the reopening of the
schools? They say that parents should have an option. They should have an option. Those children that the parents want them to go to school, they should go to school. And those who don't want them to go to school, they should do virtual. Because what I'm seeing, and I love Carvalho, the superintendent, he's great, he's a friend, and I work with him. But what I'm seeing is, as a daughter of educators, you know that if you're first grade and second grade, and those very important years of your life, if you fall behind, you don't learn to read, you will never recover. So I'm worried that, in 15 years, those kids that missed that important year in their life, just doing something virtual, which you know you're not going to learn. I mean, we are adults and we don't like the virtual thing. So kids, you think a student, a little boy or a little girl can sit there and really pay attention? It's going to be difficult. So what worries me about this is the future. The future of these students at this time, if they're going to be a whole year studying virtually, are they going to be able to recover from that?
Yeah, but-
That's what worries me.
But let me ask you something. I mean, it seems to me that when you talk about virtual learning versus real learning, classroom learning,
right,
if you
right.
will, there's a huge split in our
Yes.
in our economy and in our people, I should
Yes,
say.
absolutely.
I mean, I went to have lunch at Merrick Park or Merrick
Right,
Village,
right,
whatever,
okay.
with really my best friend in life. He's a gentleman from originally from Atlanta, Georgia, but he lives in Santo Domingo. He's lived there for the past 30 years.
Oh, nice, Santo Domingo.
And you know, somebody who I've known for a long period of time. And when I went to see him, you know, he had on the the welder's helmet and the goggles and
Yes.
and the nitrile gloves, and I mean, he looked like an alien. You
Yeah,
know?
because you have the extremes.
Yeah,
You have the extremes.
and I was like, whoa, you know. But you know, there are people that are absolutely paranoid about what's going on.
I agree with you.
And
there's others that are
they're
cautious.
you see them as you're driving down I-95.
In a
They're in their
car.
cars with the air conditioning
with
going
a
on,
mask.
and they got the mask
That makes
on.
no sense. It makes no sense at all.
And you
right.
say to yourself, what is
Why?
going on here? You know?
I think the media
And I
is
think
driving
there's-
people
I think
crazy.
those parents are you know, there's just a group of people that just absolutely don't want to
Exactly.
leave their homes.
And then what happens is the superintendent has to try to accommodate the people. But like you say, and I see those people too. I see the people that's like, it's 50-50. I have the members of the chamber that are willing and able maybe to go to a reception if it's outdoors and stay, you know, keep your social distancing. And then there's those that will never, like you say, are covering themselves, don't go out of their house ever because they think they're going to get the COVID. And by the way, I just want to clarify this. I'm not minimizing the importance of this virus.
sure.
This is very dangerous. And I take care of myself, as you saw me.
Yeah, no.
When I was getting my makeup, I said the mask and all of that. I mean,
No,
this
listen,
is serious
I
stuff.
got my little mask
Exactly.
here.
When
and
we
I've been
greeted,
telling
and now
people
here
on
we
this
have more than
program,
6 feet, more than 6 feet
I've been
separation.
telling people, you know, since day one, listen, this is serious, and you got to wear your mask.
This is very serious.
But you know, at the same time, you know,
you can't stop the economy.
You can't stop
Stop
the
the
economy.
economy.
And the
You
latest
can't
things that
stop
I'm
the
seeing, in
economy.
fact, the CDC started talking about it this week.
Exactly.
You know, we're starting to see an increase in suicides. We're starting to
Yes,
see an increase
absolutely.
in depression. We're starting
Of
to see an
course.
increase in people calling, you know, mental health hotlines.
And Raul, I have
because
something.
people are, you know, I mean, this is not a natural human condition
No,
to be at
to
home,
be at home,
locked up all the time.
Locked up all the time and not talking hardly to
and
anybody.
not being able to go out and interact with people and have a life.
It is really bad. And what worries me, Raul, is the parents that work. So how is a working parent going to leave a child alone at home studying virtually in a computer? Come on.
Yeah.
Who's going to push that student, first of all? Second of all, if it's a small child, who's going to take care of him? You can't leave a child by himself.
Sure.
So then you have to pay for someone to take care of your children so that you can work. And maybe your hours were cut, or maybe you're unemployed.
Right.
So I really would appreciate it if our elected officials and everybody, you know, they would do a round table and let's just brainstorm and think of these little things that are common sense that you and I are talking about that apparently some people don't talk about because they say that if you question something, you're like you're saying, it's like you're minimizing the virus. We are not minimizing
Not
it.
minimizing
I know
at all.
it's scary. I know it's dangerous. I know it kills people. I know it does, but we have to come up with a plan and with a solution.
Well,
and
listen,
I'm passionate
you know,
about this because
unfortunately,
it's
you
affecting
know,
me.
some of our leaders. I mean, you look at what's happening in Congress now. You know, they've gone for summer recess. You know,
Exactly.
The House of Representatives and the Senate are closed. They're not reopening until September. Meantime,
Yeah.
we've got 28 million people that are out of work.
Exactly.
And these folks have gone home to enjoy themselves.
Exactly. This
You
is
know,
unacceptable.
I talked about that in our opening news segment, and they're fighting over, and I think I may have erroneously talked about billions of dollars, but we're talking about trillions of dollars. You know, the Republicans are saying, listen, we're willing to spend $1 trillion. Nancy Pelosi's saying, oh, you know, I want to spend $3 trillion. And now she's saying, well, I'll meet you in the middle. I mean, what the hell kind of way of doing business is that? I mean, just kind of like saying, you know, we're going to agree to a number before we agree to see what the underlying programs are and whether they make sense or not. Anyway,
I don't.
Lilian, it's been fabulous talking to you.
You see,
We've
we
run out of
coulda kept-
time.
we coulda kept
could be
going.
here for
We
another
coulda kept
15
going, you
minutes,
and
but we
me.
can't. Thank you for being here.
Oh, it is
Thank
my
you to our
pleasure.
sponsors, Youngevity,
My pleasure.
Cachita Coffee, Grimal
Oh.
Joyería,
Qué rico café,
Casa
Cachita.
Resuelto Punto Legal, and all of our sponsors. See you again next week here on Mas con Mas, and thank you, Lily, for being on the
Thank you.
program.
Thank you, Raul.
Delightful to have you here. Take care, guys. See you next week.